Hey guys, I want to go over our final part of the 3 phases of conditioning and energy system training that we do for your facility programming. This is called the base. This is our aerobic conditioning. Consists of oxygen, O2 baby. Gotta have it. Consistency, right? Aerobic training should be consistent, right? These are ones we want to go straight across there, not up, not down and falling off, and because you should be able to sustain them. Right, so we had our high output went up, our lactic, hashtag the nasty, went down at an angle, it was unsustainable. Our aerobic parts and our 3 types of it, aerobic power, aerobic muscle endurance, and aerobic long, or really aerobic base, should be sustainable on each level. The exercise and a selection and rep ranges that we're looking for generally will be speed strength, absolute speed endurance, both of these endurance, and muscle endurance. Right? So speed, strength, endurance, absolute speed, endurance, and muscle endurance. So we're looking at those rep ranges and movements that we've been training from the previous videos and now putting them into conditioning and sustainable effort parts. So I put together a couple different workouts here to look at it. The first one that's actually probably most confused for the programming for just anyone doing it for a regular, from a member's perspective, I'd say it would be a workout like Helen. 3 rounds for time, 400-meter run, 21 swings, 12 pull-ups, right? So we have some cyclical conditioning, body weight self-loaded stuff, pull-up, and then we add speed strength and the light kettlebell swing, right? So we know the movements are there. I put 2 scenarios together. The first one, round 1 is done in 2:30. Round 2 is done in 3:05. Round 3 is done in 3:45. All right? On this one, it goes 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes. So who wins? This person does. They got it in 9 minutes, and these people are about 9:20. Right? So actually being a little slower off the start and controlling your pace and not burning out, because this person went too hot, flew too close to the sun, couldn't sustain that pace, so they were unsustainable. So we know they went probably either lactic or fell off or just became overheated, some variation of that happened. So they didn't get the stimulus they needed to condition their aerobic system. And 2, they didn't win the workout, so doubly bad for them, right? So we actually want to be sustaining here would be the right idea on those. The aerobic work we do, and again, most conditioning should be in some form of aerobic progressions, meaning aerobic power or aerobic muscle endurance is most of the work. The reason is those are easier on the body as a whole to recover from than, say, doing hard lactic work every day. People in the beginning can be good, and then they love it. They love that feel. Oh man, I got my butt kicked, and all of a sudden, then they feel really burnt out after a while. They can't go there anymore, right? So these also help us recharge our CP battery in our high output work, especially from aerobic long base. So we'll get into that next. But common aerobic muscle endurance workout might be something like Cindy, or a row plus some speed, strength, speed movements. Add some absolute speed in there. A lot of these common 5 rounds for time, 400-meter run, 20 wall ball, or let's say 500-meter row, 25 wall ball, and then 15 push-ups, right? Yeah, your breathing will be there, but you're probably just like, oh, my arms, I can't pull anymore. That on this part, something's gonna kind of get crossed over more than the breathing. So when it's muscle endurance, we're expecting that they could keep going if they could clear out just the local fatigue there, all right? And that's why we do a lot of, say, functional bodybuilding, accessory work at the end, tempo, time under tension work, etc., to build that up. So when we do it into conditioning, like Cindy, now you're just going straight through. So that'd be the idea there. Then finally would be aerobic long or base. So for facility programming, this really looks like maybe on the long end, 30 to 35 minute AMRAP. And then we have 2 types. Cyclical versus mixed, meaning cyclical might be run 5K today, which doesn't come up a lot, as most people won't want to come, unfortunately, but eventually they will. And it usually is mixed. This might be a workout like alphabet soup, so it might be speed, strength movements. The load and the rep ranges are low, so there's no braking. They're doing it easy. They're doing 15 swings, but it's like Russian swings at a 35-pound kettlebell. They're breathing on it. They're making that movement aerobic, meaning they're making that movement sustainable. They do that, and that 15 kettlebell swings now feels no different than them jogging 100 meters. That's what we want. That the whole thing feels at this pace where they're like, ooh, and at the end they kind of have this feel. They're like, okay, that was good, and not fall on your back, bake and sizzle, kick your shoes off like we do for the nasty or for our lactic power, lactic endurance. Right? So that is aerobic power, are ones that almost you think, man, if they went any higher to the sun, they flew any hotter, it wouldn't be sustainable, and that would be lactic. So this is just under lactic. Right? It's a little lower. Then we'd have aerobic muscle endurance would be similar, not quite as high output, and aerobic base. Any lower than aerobic base, we have like walking and talking and stuff. That's aerobic, right? Oxygen is the main fuel source. So it's an aerobic activity. So is sitting on the couch. That is aerobics, but it is so low, for most people that are conditioned, you are deconditioning yourself relative to the stimulus that's intended. So, back to the top, oxygen, we want it consistent and sustainable. 3 types we focus on: aerobic power. That is going to be breathing based. Can they go that hard for that long? And again, if we added 2 more rounds of Helen, it's hard to keep that up unless you are really aerobically talented. We start to see fall off at that level. Aerobic muscle endurance, think of Cindy, think of Mary, think of anything with a run or a row and then a bunch of high rep movements in between, the 50s. That's all aerobic muscle endurance. And then aerobic long or aerobic base work, which is low intensity recovery work, etc. And that's aerobic conditioning, and hope you're ready to kick some butt on your classes.